All right, let's get into it. Today, we're going to crack a classic GCSE maths question on indices. Now, this is from a non-calculator paper, which means it's all about knowing the rules, not about fancy button pushing. By the end of this, you'll know exactly how to turn this kind of question into some really easy marks. Let's dive in.
So here it is, question 10, pulled straight from an exam paper. It's got 2 parts, 4 marks up for grabs. And the most important thing to notice is that phrase, non-calculator. That is a massive clue. It tells you that the numbers have to be simple enough to work out in your head. We just need to know the right method.
So let's start with part A. We've got 25 to the power of a half times 8 to the power of a third. Now, the trick here is not to panic and look at the whole thing at once. Just deal with each piece separately.
Okay, let's zoom in on that first bit, 25 to the power of 1/2. See? By breaking the problem down like this, it already feels way less overwhelming. So, the big question is, what does a power of a half actually mean?
And here is the first key rule you absolutely have to know. Any number raised to the power of a half is simply another way of writing the square root of that number. Once you know that, this problem gets a whole lot easier.
So, the square root of 25 is, of course, 5, because 5 times 5 gets you 25. And just like that, the first part of our expression is solved. That's 1 mark in the bag. Easy.
Okay, let's move on to the second term and see how this pattern continues. This time, we have 8 to the power of 1/3. It looks pretty similar to the last one, just a different fraction. So you can probably guess it follows a similar rule, right?
You bet it does. A power of 1/3 just means you need to find the cube root. In other words, you're asking yourself, what number, when I multiply it by itself 3 times, gives me 8?
And the answer to that is 2. Since 2 times 2 is 4, times 2 again is 8. Simple as that. We've now officially solved the second piece of the puzzle.
So now we just have to bring our 2 answers together. The original question asked us to multiply them. So we take our first answer, which was 5, and our second answer, which was 2, and we multiply them. 5 times 2 gives us the final answer for part A, which is 10.
All right, on to part B. Now, this one looks a little more intimidating, I'll give you that. We've got a fraction inside the bracket and a more complicated fraction as the power. But again, don't worry, there's a rule for this too. Here's the problem in full. Find the value of 1/32, all raised to the power of 3/5. This is where it gets interesting, because it's combining the idea of a root with the idea of a power, all in one go.
So how in the world do we deal with a fractional power like 3/5? It's obviously not a simple square root or cube root. What's the secret here?
This slide right here holds the key. This is the golden rule. For any fractional power, the bottom number, the denominator, tells you which root to take, and the top number, the numerator, tells you what power to raise it to. So for 3/5, the 5 is the root and the 3 is the power. Pro tip, it's almost always easier to do the root first because it makes the numbers smaller to work with.
Let's apply that rule. Step 1, the root. The denominator is 5, so we need the 5th root of 1/32. Well, the 5th root of 1 is just 1, and the 5th root of 32 is 2, because 2 times itself 5 times is 32. So we have 1/2. Step 3, the power. The numerator is 3, so we take our answer of 1/2 and we raise it to the power of 3. So 1/2 cubed is just 1/2 times 1/2 times 1/2, which gives us our final answer of 1/8. And that's it. So let's just wrap this up by recapping what we've learned. You shouldn't think of these as difficult maths rules. Instead, think of them as essential tools that you're adding to your problem-solving toolkit for your exam. So here are the 3 crucial rules we use today. A power of a half is a square root. A power of a third is a cube root. And for any other fraction, the denominator is the root and the numerator is the power. If you can commit those 3 things to memory, questions like this become so much more straightforward. And that's really the bottom line. What looks like a difficult abstract question when you first see it is actually just a simple process once you know the index laws. It's all about transforming those scary-looking problems into some very easy marks. So, with these index laws now firmly in your toolkit, what's next? What are the other key non-calculator skills, maybe things like working with standard form or simplifying surds, that could secure you even more marks? Keep practicing these skills, and you'll be ready for anything they throw at you.